In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at an all-new camera from Foxeer. Now, we're going to be discussing its specs, also testing its latency to see if it's actually testing as they are stating here. However, this comes in two different flavors. It is a micro. This is the Foxeer Predator 4 Micro. However, if you notice something, it looks like a mini. And the reason for that is this is the flavor with the full body. So some people prefer a full body other than a naked body camera. And this is what we get here. So this camera is capable of 50 to 40 volt input. However, I never recommend giving it direct battery power because you'll have a higher probability of noise in your video feed, which is something you don't really want. Also, this has super wide dynamic range, low latency as they're stating, which will be tested. OSD, its aspect ratio can be changed from 16:9 to 4:3 or vice versa. Also can run PAL and NTSC. It weighs 6 grams. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get the testing. So the testing results for the Predator 4 Micro is in. However, and again, don't mistake this for a mini. It is actually a micro. And here's an example of another mini, and you can tell they're exactly the same size. However, this one comes in two different flavors now, which is a full body and a naked body. And what we're used to is the naked body. So you can choose whether you wanted a full protected body with no possible debris making its way down to the sensor, which has happened before to myself and possibly some others as well. Now, some of the things they do provide you with is the OSD remote, which is also really nice, and the silicone wires that you're going to need. These are pretty stiff, and I really like how stiff they are, and they're very flexible, and obviously they're silicone as well, which tend to keep the shape you twist them at, which is very useful because your overall build will be much cleaner. Not a big deal, but it's a really nice touch here. Now, the cable here will be connected just as follows here. And if we take a look at the back, we see the options we have. We have VCC, which again, it's a 5 to 40 volt input, but I highly recommend you just stick it on a 5 volt regulator. Also, we have video, which is obviously the yellow wire, and VSense. VSense is going to be the pink wire all the way back here. And this would be connected on the positive part of the Xt60 to give you battery voltage if you had no OSD on your flight controller, which is something really nice. And again, you also have your OSD. And the other side of the connector is a connector of this type, which is supposed to be kind of the standard video transmitter connectors, but not all of them carry this. So it's kind of nice to see that, but more than likely, you're just going to end up having to cut this, and that's what it's meant for. So you'd end up cutting this. You're not going to need this side, but you might be lucky if you do need this side end, which will make your life a little bit easier. But then again, the wire is a bit too long here. Now, they're claiming a lot of things about the latency. They're saying it's a 4 millisecond latency. However, that's absolutely wrong, and it is a 1.8 millisecond latency. That is just insane. That's less than half of what they were stating here. And the 1.8 milliseconds was not fluctuating with the LEDs turning on. It was actually a very, very stable latency, which is something really nice. Sometimes when cameras are on for quite a while and they start getting a bit of heat, the latency does somewhat drop at times. However, in this case, I did not see that. And the drop isn't really that big. It would probably be like a plus or minus 1 millisecond. However, this one stayed at a static 1.8 milliseconds with the LEDs turning on. Now, with the LEDs turning off, it was a different story. Like any other camera, usually the latency does increase, and it did increase to a stable and static 3 milliseconds, which is also a really, really great latency. Anything above 25 milliseconds is good. Under 15 is great. Under 10 is awesome. Under 5 is just insane. And this is what we get here. A very stable and consistent latency, which is something you always want to look for here. So Foxeer did a really great job with this camera in my opinion. And well, that's going to conclude it for this video, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Everything is linked down below. And come join my Patreon. We'll have a ton of giveaways every month. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.